Hey guys, here's Louie, and if you want to find out how to make your electrical work on your first gen bird, stay tuned. Alright guys, so I'm gonna use the 67 Firebird wiring diagram, even though I'm working on a 68 Firebird. But I have the 68 Firebird. I probably will be jumping back and forth. It's just that this diagram being so big, you guys can see it much better. All right, so reading a diagram, okay? This is a wiring diagram, and when I first was introduced to a wiring diagram some years back, it was really hard for me. It was like trying to learn a different language for the first time. But I hope that I can do my best in explaining it, and that you guys will learn something from this video, and from there on you guys will be moving forward and learn even more and more as you go, just like I did. Okay, so everything starts here with the battery. Because without the battery, all of this is useless. So here's your battery, okay? Here is your ground wire. All right, these little symbols here, when you see it in a wiring diagram, means ground. Okay, that's what that means, ground. All right, and this one I know is black, okay, on the wiring diagram, but eventually it turns red, and that's because this is your positive side. All right, and I do not want you guys to get confused. One is not more important than the other. They both are very, very important because they work together. Okay, so when I build these Firebirds, I like to use what is called wiring cable, okay, which are made of a lot of little strands of copper. And I read about it some years back, and it actually helps move amperage faster, okay? And that's what I use. So I actually go on eBay. I know a guy that makes them custom made to any length you need. And just as a side note, for Firebird first gen, I always order 63 inches long, because this positive cable that goes from here to the starter, okay, this is your starter right here, you guys can see that she's pretty long. Remember, from Firebird it goes all the way to the left side, to the driver's side, until it could reach the starter where the big bolt is. So this is your negative and this is your positive, the big wire going to your starter. Okay, now here you have the junction block. I'm going to show you guys what I use, but it's not the original junction block. I showed you in the last part 1 that how it looks, the original one, but I don't use it. Okay, if this was a concourse restoration, which is not, and I've been doing a car like that, I will put everything back to factory the best way. But I don't use it, and I build my cars to drive. So there you go with that. Here's your junction block. So this smaller wire here that you see will have a fusible link here. Okay, that fusible link is protecting all of your harness for not catching on fire. Okay, and I do believe that usually your fusible link will be 2 gauges below what your wire is. So this is a 10 gauge wire here, so this would be a 12 gauge wire here, 12 gauge with a fusible link, that if this was to get hot, real hot, because something is happening, it will burn from here, and from here on the cable will be safe, and let's say from here on your wiring harness will be safe. I see a lot of guys that they don't put nothing here, and they just put this straight to power, and believe me, that's extremely dangerous. Okay, so let's keep on moving forward. So now this 10 gauge red wire here that you see is what actually gonna feed the energy from the battery, okay, the volts to the battery into your car, into the carpet, okay, anyway, cockpit. So check this out right here. This little thing, okay, going around here is also called a junction. If you guys ever witness an original harness from an old car, this being a Firebird, 67, 68, and 69 also had it. What I mean is you are going to see some other wires tied in, soldered. Some of them are soldered in, some of them are crimped in, because they all are feeding 12 volts from here, okay? So she is feeding 12 volts to the alternator, the regulator for the alternator, all right? Going back to the alternator. And while this spins, is charging your batteries. Going back, and you're supposed to have your battery getting charged with a good charging system. And the 12 volts continue. Bam, connected to your horn relay. From your horn relay, it jumps into this wire right here, being a 10 gauge wire, right into the cockpit, going into the car, okay? And usually if you see this red and you count 1, 2 boxes red, 1, 2 boxes red, okay? That all follows. That's your bulkhead connectors. And when you marry these two together, these wires should line up with each other and color code, all right? So yeah, it's a little confusing if you're doing it for the first time. It was for me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. All this was really confusing, but now I feel real confident, and I've been wiring all my Firebirds by myself. Okay, even with wiring harnesses that does look like a mess, I turn them back into life. I have a whole bunch there. This is from all the years of the first gen Firebirds. This big tub here I have, and I also have some there in the car that I'm going to demonstrate later. All right, and this being your bulkhead connector. So from here on is the firewall, and these stick out of the firewall. You connect them, and this will be your light harness for your lights, okay? And that is on the driver's side, left hand side. And this will be for your engine harness, it's called, which will be on your right hand side, okay? And this will also feed power to your wiper motor, your wiper pump, okay? Your brake switch when your master cylinder is going too low, and all that kind of stuff. Your temperature gauge, your oil pressure gauge. Some cars have oil pressure gauges. Some of them have dummy lights, depending what was the option, or depending how you did it, all right, or how you going to do it. And right here is your 12 volts for your ignition coil, feeding your distributor, and bam, if everything's working fine, your engine will run. All right, here are your horns. That's your horns. That's how it will look. And there's even label horns here. And there goes your ground. You see? So that means that the horn, okay, is grounding but from the body, from the chassis, okay? Here are your signal lights. And here's your high beam. Here's your low beam. Same thing with the driver's side here. Horn, directional signal lights, high beam, low beam, okay? Now, I had a viewer ask me, how can you turn like an original harness into a more updated alternator? That being said, not an external regulator, which this is an external regulator, but how can you change this to an internal regulator? Well, I'll tell you what, all my cars that I have built so far has the internal regulator. And this is a little tip for you guys. I always go to the parts store and I tell them I have a 1975 Firebird 400 car, just for they could plug something in the computer, And when I order my alternator, I will get the alternator that I use on these first gen Firebirds here. Okay, so it's really simple, and if you go and do a Google search, you will find a whole bunch of things, but I'm going to tell you real quick how it is. So you will remove this because you're not going to use it if you do the internal regulator. All right, and this wire goes connected to this wire. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 1 will go with 4 and 2 will go with 3. What I do is I remove it. Okay, I cut, and I solder them, the ones that's supposed to go together, and everything goes back into the harness nice and clean after you cut them, solder them, put them back in. And then the alternator needs to have in the bolt in the back, it needs to have a wire going back to the battery for your charge, for your battery to be charged. Okay, so if you want to do it nice and clean looking, and it's also going to go to the alternator, there's one going into the alternator. Okay, that's another one that excites. All right, your exciting wire, and also 1 rep power that goes to your battery and charge it. That one will go right to your horn relay. Okay, goes to your horn relay because this is also a junction here. Then you go, that was explaining for the external regulator, guys. I promised him I will explain that. I'm going to show it also in a little bit. Then all these wires go into the car, and it goes to your dimmer switch. That's your high beam switch. And all these wires here are for your back lights. Okay, you have your stop lights, you have your backup lights. All right, another stop light here, also / park lights. Here you have the beige wire for your gas gauge, okay, the tank, and your license plate, brown. There goes in the first video where I tell you I had to order the brown wire. There it goes, brown wire. All right, and it also feeds ground. Okay, that feeds ground. You see that? You see here's another junction. See that junction here? That's for ground. So it's feeding ground here. It goes back, feed this light ground, comes around here. License plate power. Okay, it gives you power. There goes your ground. So that's another junction here. Okay, power here. From here goes all the way power. All right, so when you see these little things here and they are together, is because they are a junction. They all feed from this wire coming in from the car. All right, and if we're following it, here's your light switch. Here it goes, light switch. All right, and that's how the wiring harness goes. This is for your gauges, and it shows you by colors and what they do here. Okay, and this is your horn for your horn button on the steering column. On the steering column, there's a harness that goes in the middle of it, going down. It gets connected to this connector here, and it has a whole bunch of things just to your signal light, all that stuff. All right, this is your heater control plug right here. Your heater control plug is right here. Cigarette lighter. Okay, see, cigarette lighter housing is grounded. All right, to the chassis, to the car, and that feeds power. All right, usually when you see an orange wire on a wiring diagram for these cars, orange means hot all the time. What do that mean? That means that even though you're not using the car, there's 12 volts there. As long as this is connected, the ground and the power is connected to the battery, these orange wires are 12 volts all the time. Glove box light, she's always hot. Courtesy lights, they always hot. These are the courtesy lights here and here that goes and lights up the under the dash. Okay, like where your feet will be when you're sitting in the car. Okay, and it also feeds the dome light. Okay, here goes the white also. You see the white here? It gives you power. That's the door switch, ground, and the white cable here. Okay, see the white cable here. It's going again to another door switch. Here is your wiper motor. Your wiper switch to the motor. Okay, what else? Your flasher. Here's your flasher. That little round silver thing that looks like a button. Here's your flasher. You're supposed to have two, one here and one in your fuse box. The one on the one that gets connected to your fuse box is for your hazards, and this is for your signal lights, left or right turns. All right. What else? This is your backup neutral safety switch. Okay, this is for the backup lights, and this is your neutral safety switch right here. So that purple is also notorious. That dark purple means is a starter wire. Okay, a starter wire. All right, and this is crucial to have in your car because your car will only start in park or in neutral. Okay, it's a safety feature. These gray wires here, gray wire usually feeds a light power. Right here is your starter. Okay, so you have your purple wire, your starter purple wire there. All right. So that's as easy and as fast I could explain the wiring harness to you guys. And 68 is basically the same thing. It's just that it's so small for you guys to see. But that's 68. Now, what I was talking about here, I know there's some glare and I apologize. This is what I was talking about here. Okay. So external voltage regulator. Okay. If you go and do a Google search, you could find all this kind of stuff. I did these drawings years and years back. Let me see right here. So that blue gets connected to the brown. If you're gonna eliminate this, please solder them together. Don't crimp them. Don't do nothing crazy like that. Solder them. Use heat shrink, and you could tape them nice and neat inside your wiring harness. It's safe, plus it looks so clean underneath the hood. And then 2 and 3 will go together right here. All right, and you will be able to use this kind of style of alternator, which is the internal regulator. Okay, see that bolt in the back, positive battery charging terminal. All right, I even made one that excites a dummy light, and I have it in my 67 Firebird right under the dashboard. I only know that it's there, now you guys know. And when I turn on my car on ignition on, so if I put the key in and I put the ignition on, the light bulb lights up. And when I go and turn on the car and she's on and she kicks into charging, the light turns off. If that light stays on, that means it's a problem. And that's the diagram for that right there. All right. So real quick, guys, this is a 68 Firebird wiring harness. Okay, this is the original to the white car, which this car used to be a Vandero green. Okay, then I always wanted a white with red car, and there she is. So here's your fuse block here. Okay, your flasher for your hazards will go here. These wires coming down is for your dimmer switch. Okay, your high beam and your low beam switch. This is for your key, your ignition. So this is called your dash harness. Okay, this is for the key. All right. This is for the flashers here. That's how it looks. Your signal light flashers. All right, this one over here with the numbers and looking like this is for your gauges. This is for your brakes. This is the brake light switch. Okay, your stop light switch. That's for your washer motor. This one here with this little spring is your glove box light. Not every car has it. All right. We got one. I can see it right now. Where are you? It's probably taped up here somewhere. But look, this is for the steering column. All right, with the horn, your signal light, and everything. And this one will be for your heater control. Okay, your heater control. There's another one just like this. I just can't find it, and I apologize, somewhere in here. That feeds the resistor for the blower motor. Okay, then from the fuse block comes out this harness here, which is going to feed your rear tail lights. Power to your rear tail lights, your gas gauge and everything, the reading from the sending unit, all that is in here. Okay, and also your dome light gets hooked up to this, and this goes to the emergency brake pedal. Okay, the E cable, it goes to the E brake. This small harness here will get hooked up to this harness. Okay, you see those orange, hot all the time. Like I said, the orange wire, hot all the time, right? And this is for your lower dash courtesy lights. Okay, one bulb there and another one goes there. And here is your bulkhead connector from the engine side. Okay, and it's like I said, left is your lights and the right side is your engine harness. So if we are sitting here at the driver's seat, this will be your lights, for your lights, and that will be for your engine. All right, harness. And it's really simple. When you guys see this one with the 3 prongs here, 3 wires sticking out, this will be for your low beam. The next one with 2 will be for your high beam. These here are for your signal lights. This one here that is brown tannish color, just dirty, is for your master cylinder brake fluid level. Okay, this is your temperature gauge. This will feed the 12 volts to the car. This orange and black is for your blower motor. This is your horn relay. Okay, and if you guys could see, this is original. This is what brings the power into the car right here. Okay, so now we're gonna take a walk to the white car here, the 68 Firebird. I'll show you in the engine bay. All right, so now we are here in the engine bay. I had to take out my baffles if I could show you guys. Here's your battery. Okay, ground wire will go there. That's this fat wire here, and it will go to your engine, to your block. Okay, there's a stud that comes out from the head. You use that stud. I always put an extra ground here to the body, back to the battery. This is your red positive cable wire. Okay, like I said, 2 gauge is what I use. I don't buy nothing in the parts stores because what they sell you is too small. And it goes all the way down back to the starter. All right. Then originally it will be a wire here with a fusible link. I do not use the fusible link, and I do not use that junction block. So I have it here through the firewall with a rubber grommet. Okay, coming into a circuit breaker here. All right, if anything was to happen, this would trip and I'll lose power in the car. It will not continue coming into the car, and I know something is up. All right, this is a 10 gauge wire, heavy duty wire, because you are bringing straight 12 volts from the battery into the car. All right, and she gets wired from the bulkhead connectors. You will fish your wire like you see over here. You go through the fender, inside, over the radiator support until you get here. Okay, if you guys want to see, I think I have one here. I took one out to show you guys. Here you go. This is what it is right here. I'm trying to open this bag with one hand. And this is your, oh boy, I just said the name. This is your circuit breaker. This is the circuit breaker here, okay? And if you guys could see that, I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's a 50 amp circuit breaker, okay? Which is enough if you're gonna wire the car back to original. That's enough. I like these because it comes with this rubber cover for no water to go in here and keep it safe, keep your wiring safe. All right, and it comes with these nut washers, and that's how I mount into the car. And she's there. My 67 is the same way, and it's been like that for years. Okay, now you will, for first gen Firebird, you have a horn here, okay, connected to your hood latch assembly. Another horn here that goes to the firewall. These are correct points for 67 through 69. Here goes the wiring in there. And guys, I'm not done with my engine bay. I still got parts to paint, things to clean, and then I'll be satisfied with my engine bay. If you guys see my 67, my 69, the engine bays are beautiful, nice and clean and painted to the T. And here goes your wiring. Now the wiring follows some holes that the inner fender has, and it gets mounted to those holes, okay? Keep them nice and safe and steady for when you're driving. They're not shaking around. Then you go into, let me get a flashlight. Then there goes your bulkhead connector, guys, right there. All right, and that's your light side, the one closest to the fender here, and the one going that way towards the motor is your motor wiring harness. Okay, you see that this tab, this metal tab here, is to loop up your wires going into your wiring gutters and going to the destinations that they need to go to. Okay, then of course it continues and it goes into the car. All right, and it feeds what it needs to feed energy to the car, inside the car, until we get to the back of the car. Then your I don't know where I put the flashlight on. Hold on 1 second, sorry. Then this wiring here, that orange and white, if you guys could see that, sorry, that's what feeds your wire, your courtesy lights for the bottom of your feet under the dash. I haven't mounted mine because I still need to paint the bracket they go on, but I just did this for demonstration and to check that everything is working in the car. And it loops around here. Here's your wiring where it's supposed to go, into the inner rocker panel. Okay, and there's supposed to be a shield that goes over that, and it routes right up to the inner wheelhouse. Okay, and she'll go through this little slot that is there all the way to the back. And your dome light, I just have the dome light there just to make sure everything is working correctly, but your dome light, of course, is supposed to be up there. And she also feeds power to your dome light. Okay, and she will be routing through here, through one of these openings here, through the sail panel. And then you'll be in the trunk. You'll be in the trunk area. Your wiring will come out. I like to have my wiring around this area here, back here, and it will feed your tail lights, like you see it here. All right, the brown wire for 68 is gonna feed the side markers. Okay, 67 did not have no rear side markers. at all. By law, it came out in 68. That's why the 68 Firebird and the 69 Firebird has it. And of course, if you guys wire everything correctly, when you pull the headlight switch over here, so one time out will give you park lights. Okay, as you guys can see, the park light is on. The other side is on also. Here goes the park light. Okay, see, everything's working good, right? There you go. So the first pull on your light switch will give you your park lights. Okay, and the second pull will give you headlights. See, there goes the headlights on the bird. Headlights are working. All right, my headlights are nice. Boom. All right, everything's nice and on. All right, then hazard lights supposed to go on. You see, hot all the time. You have your hazard lights on, hot all the time. The car don't need to have the key on to have your hazard lights on. Okay, so like I was saying before, you press your little button for your hazard lights and your hazard lights will go on. Okay, and this flashes all the time. The motor don't have to be on because hazard is when you're in trouble. All right, there goes the front, and both of them are on. Okay, so everything's looking good so far. I had to clean the socket out a little bit because this one wasn't turning on in the beginning, but now she is on. Then you pull your switch out. All right, now with the key towards the ignition, signal light for a left turn, and she's there working. Signal light for a left turn, and in the front, signal light, left turn. Great. Now let's go for a right turn, and signal light, right turn, signal light, right turn. Okay, so far so good with the 68 Firebird. Everything is working beautiful. All right, turn that off. Turn off the ignition. When I open this door, I'm supposed to have my courtesy lights on. Boom, courtesy lights came on. I got one over there and one over there. And let's see if the dome light came on. Did the dome light come on? Yes, it did. And I told you I have it on the side because I'm just testing everything out. Beautiful. I am really happy. The way the courtesy lights and the dome light works is by here, your door switch. Okay, now let me see if the reverse lights on the 68 Firebird goes on. Reverse lights. Oh, didn't hit the reverse right. Let's see. Reverse lights. Oh, there you go. Car, the ignition needs to be off. It's my fault. Ignition on, reverse lights work beautiful. All right. Okay. So this is the wiring also. If you have a automatic floor shifter, all right, that's the wiring right there, and that goes over up the dash, over your heat ducting. The one that is for the defrost is like a big Y plastic part. It actually goes behind that up on the floor here, the transmission hump, into your shifter. Guys, I don't have the wiper motor on to show you if it works, but I'm pretty sure everything will work. Now let's see if this car could talk. There you go. And those horns are just my test horns. I don't have the 68 Firebird correct GM horns. That's why it might sound a little funny to you guys, but it works, and that's all I need is to show me that it's working. And my hood tack is out because I was going through my template to make sure everything was squared away. And I have to give a great thanks to one of my viewers named Eric. I misplaced my original template. Is somewhere around the garage, but right now I have such a mess because I've been doing the wiring to this car and also working around the house, doing some painting, some drywall. So I have a mess going on right now, but he did send me a copy of the copy I sent him. That's why I'm so grateful of being the nice guy and sharing my knowledge, sharing the stuff that I have, because look, it worked out in my favor. I was able to get a copy, and I made about 4 copies that are out towards the mail, going to the guys that asked for it. Eric, thank you very much. Everything worked great. My hood tack does work. So this car right now, the 68 Firebird, as of now has all its lights on. Okay, she is working nice. I love it. She's a wired car totally from front to back now. All right, and here it goes, guys. So that's for your wiring on a first gen Bird. I hope some of you guys learned a lot. Maybe later on when I do the heater, the motor blower, and the wipers and the wiper motor, I will show you guys. I could even show you guys how to bench test your wiper motor. Thank you for you guys' support. Please share the knowledge, share my channel. I'm just seeing that the channel keeps growing. Guys, keep wrenching, keep out there, keep your hands dirty. While your hands being dirty, your project won't get done. Remember that. So here it is, the 68 Firebird, getting closer and closer to being done. Take care now. Bye-bye.